Everybody could stand. We're going to have an invocation and a flag salute.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as the elections approach, we seek to better understand the issues and concerns we face in a very troubling world. We thank you for the privilege of being able to organize politically to hear these candidates and for the opportunity to vote in the upcoming elections. I pray that we will enter the voting booth as Christians and elect those who will uphold your laws and seek your guidance. Help us to recognize your wisdom through this process and exercise it in our vote. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, flag salute, attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, my name is, I don't have to read that. My name is Tamara Hopkins. I'm from Tennessee, and I am the Kingfisher County Republican Women president for this year. We want to welcome everyone. Thank you for attending tonight's forum for the 4 candidates that we have up here for sheriff. And we appreciate y'all for being willing to run for this. KCRW Women, if y'all could stand up. These are members of my clan that are here tonight. The membership is open to Republican women, and associate memberships are available to Republican men. I asked Jerry McStitt if he wanted to be an associate member, and he declined. Membership forms are available. Barbara has the forms back over there somewhere. Where is Barbara? There she is. The forms are back over there, though. I'm going to hand off to Debbie Parks, who's my first VP. She is going to introduce our guests.
Thank you. Before I introduce, we have some candidates in the audience I'm going to introduce that are in other races. But before I do that, I wanted to introduce Mike Sanders over here. He is the executive director of the and we're glad that you're here with us tonight, Mike. For Kingfisher County Clerk, there was no opponent. And Emily Lee, she could not be here, but she will be the new county clerk. Candidates for court clerk, we have Jessica Connor. Thank you, Jessica. We have Lauren Strutt in the back. And then we have our District 2 county corporation commissioner candidates. Are they here? Mike Sparks and
I'm Austin Whitmer, sorry.
And Austin. Okay, Austin is with us. Mike Sparks.
David's here.
Hey, Rollins right there.
Oh, David Romer. Okay. Sorry, you weren't on our list. We usually just do the Republican. We're all community here. It's fine.
But you're welcome.
You're welcome. I want to encourage everyone to get out and vote on Tuesday, June 18th. June 18th. Please get out and vote. Tell everyone. We want to have a good turnout for this election. Next, I want to introduce our candidates. And if you gentlemen just want to stand when I say your name. Jeremiah Loper. Thank you. Aaron Pitts. Jonathan Riedlinger. And Forrest Smith.
You going to put the numbers in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're going to put numbers in over here, and the candidates are going to draw 1 through 4. And then we'll do rounds of questions, and the first round of questions will start off with number 2. The second round of questions will start off with first round of questions will start off with number 1, second number 2, third 3, and fourth 4. So everybody gets to start. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to answer the question. A yellow card will be held up indicating the last 30 seconds that they have. Lisa Peterman is our timekeeper over here. We ask that all responses refrain from personal attacks against fellow candidates. We ask the audience members do not shout out negative comments. Only one warning will be given after the second time you'll be asked to leave. Kingfisher County Republican Women don't want to be involved in any yicky stuff. So Debbie's going to roll those things around, and you guys are going to get to choose your numbers.
Okay, do you want to come draw?
Guess I'll know what mine is.
Okay. And,
4.
okay, you're 4.
I'm the
You get what's left.
Lucky number 1. So,
50-50.
That's
right.
Number 2.
You want me to get number?
yeah, I am.
Okay, question number 1. What is the current strength of the sheriff's office and one area of deficiency?
This was one that I can't answer. I don't work there currently, so I'm not going to say negative or bad or good. I don't work there, so honestly, this is one that I can't answer.
You guys have that?
Are we going to go back and forth?
Oh, I can do the whole one.
Can I read it?
Huh?
Can I read it?
Is he answering the same question?
We're doing the same
No,
question.
it's not.
It's a different question, isn't it?
It's a different question.
What are the primary duties of the office?
So, could we all answer the same question?
You will on the
Okay.
next round, okay?
Okay, can I pace? Is that allowed?
I don't care what
All
you
right.
do.
Okay, so the sheriff is an officer of the court, so saying that, there's a lot of different responsibilities as like, he's in charge of court security, oversees the jail, all civil papers, and I'm sure Dennis can tell you a million other things that he does on a weekly basis that I wouldn't even begin to understand. But hopefully, once I'm in office, I'll be able to understand more of what he does on a day-to-day basis. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. I don't need the minute or 2 minutes.
You just do those.
Okay.
Because you pull a chair up.
I will do. Okay, the next question is for
Me.
okay. What would be your priorities?
I might need 2 minutes. My top priorities, if elected sheriff, my top priorities would revolve around ensuring the safety and well-being of the community, while fostering trust, transparency, and accountability within the sheriff's office. Obviously attacking the community engagement and trust building within the community members through proactive engagement and initiatives. Building trust and fostering the open communication between law enforcement and the community is an essential and effective tool. Crime prevention and reduction, implementing evidence-based crime prevention strategies tailored to specific needs and challenges of Kingfisher County. Enhanced training. I believe in investing in the training of the deputies, staff, jailers, is something that we cannot overlook. It's something that we need to make sure we're pouring the right amount of funds into to continue to provide and get them the training that they need to be able to do their job effectively and professionally. Transparency and accountability. Promoting the transparency and accountability of the sheriff's office through regular reporting, interviews, and community engagement. I think these things are very, very important to operate a sheriff's office. support for mental health and crisis intervention, enhancing responses to mental health crisis by providing specialized training for the deputies in crisis intervention techniques in collaboration with mental health professionals and community organizations to connect individuals with the appropriate needs necessary. Victim support and advocacy, prioritizing the needs of crime victims and their families to provide compassionate support and resources during their court processes. So instead of going to the scene, so to speak, and dealing with the victim, no matter what the cause is, but further seeing them through that process. A lot of times we lose victims and accountability in the courtroom by their lack of wanting to participate because of embarrassment or what have you. But I got the red card.
You can finish your sentence.
Okay, so victim advocate, child advocacy is a major point with me, is continuing to make sure we provide them the tools and the training, the counseling they need up to and after their court appearance. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next.
That's me now.
What is your position on civil asset forfeiture laws?
Well, the position on that is it is not up to us. That is a civil deal. That is up to the district attorney's office. We only rely or result in what they say that needs to be done with that. So if they have to sell something or do something, our position is to take it forward from there. We don't deal with receiving anything or taking anything from that point forward. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. So we've already gone through the one round. Okay.
Slide through that question.
So I just wanted to point out real quick that the questions that we have over here, those were from another county that when they had their sheriff's election, those questions were what they had asked. And we just felt like we wanted to hear about more of the duties of what a sheriff would do and how they would conduct business. So that's why we are limiting to these questions. And everyone will have an opportunity to be asked a different question. Okay? I'm just going to finish off with this, and so now we're going to start with two.
Oh, I forgot I was next.
Oh, back up.
Okay. How does the sheriff's office develop its part of the county budget?
So like any budget, in Hennessy, you have a certain amount, like where I work now, you have a certain amount of money allocated towards you for your department. And as for most departments throughout the county, the cities, wherever you're working, and it's up to the sheriff, from what I've gathered, to allocate those funds where they're needed. And that may change from year to year, depending on taxes and all different kind of things. One year the priority may be this, and next year the priority may be that. And you just got to determine what is a priority for that fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next one,
Forrest, you're up, me.
Forrest?
Yes.
Okay, how would you reduce wait time for deputy response?
Okay. And in case you guys didn't catch what she said, we got these questions in advance, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's why we have prepared things, okay? He forgot his, I'm just saying.
Forrest wanted me to use his.
I offered, he declined, I'm gonna leave him up here if you want to though. So reduce wait time for response, I believe was the question. Enhanced dispatch systems, I'll run through these quicker. Strategic resource deployment, community policing initiatives and training and equipment in collaboration with other agencies. Enhanced dispatch systems, I think we see that with Ryan Dethridge rebuild the plans for an update 911 system, a CAD system, which I think is going to be very, very beneficial to increase and help with response times. Utilizing data analysis and predictive policing techniques to identify the high crime areas, which allows you to put deputies in certain areas during certain peak times to help combat and offset those high crime areas. Establishing closer ties with the community policing programs and can facilitate quicker response times as residents become more comfortable reporting incidents. And again, training and equipment. Training is always going to be important. Providing ongoing training for deputies in effective response techniques and ensuring that they have the access to necessary equipment. Collaboration with other agencies, building strong partnerships with the towns that are within the county will definitely help coordinate response times more efficiently. So if you have a deputy on one side of the county and you need them on the other side of the county, if you have a good relationship with that department that's closer, that is very beneficial to help include them in helping resolve an incident. And streamline procedures, continuously evaluating and streamlining administrative procedures within the Sheriff's Office to reduce delays and optimize efficiency. Thank you.
And just to point out, thank you for bringing that up. I know sometimes when we plan all this and we kind of forget that you all didn't know what we were doing when we were planning all of it. But when we, as far as why we gave them the questions in advance, this is what I'm going with that. We wanted them to prepare and not just come up here and not have anything, just give off any type of an answer. And we wanted them to be thoughtful about it because this is a thoughtful and a big job and a duty, and we wanted some thought behind the responses. And so that's why they did get those questions, and that's what the other county did as well, and they felt that was a positive for them. So the next question. What do you think would be the best use of the deputies?
Best use for the deputies. Right now, we are already starting to implement more things, trying to better our resources. We started going with newer technology for body cameras, so we're trying to help for more accountability, trying to get to where we can have quicker access to, like previously say, faster response times in the county. If we've got something that is on one side of the county and one on the other, maybe have it where we have deputies that are splitting the counties up. Another portion is just make sure they've got best training. I mean, training is a very vital, important tool because our jobs are always changing. We are always learning new things, new tactics. Criminals are always keeping theirs changing and 2 steps ahead of us. So if we can just always keep training and going ahead, that always try to help keep us ahead of the curve a little bit. And just always just having their backs and being where they need to be at with support. So.
Okay. How would you redirect resources to improve operations?
First, I would need to see the budget in order to answer the question. Again, this is, I'm not aware of how the sheriff is using his budget at the time, at this time. I'd redirect a portion of the budget to hire more deputies to adequately serve the community a lot better. More mental health training. A lot of drugs in the county, I believe. So a lot of that would go towards getting the bad guys off the street, pretty much.
Huh? All right. Okay. We may want to silence our phones. What do you think would be the best use of the deputies?
The best use of the deputies, I believe, is obviously patrol and response. Assigning deputies to regular patrol duties ensures that there's a visible law enforcement presence throughout the jurisdiction. This not only deters criminal activity, but also allows deputies to respond quickly in emergency incidents. Community engagement, again, you'll hear me say that a lot. Investing in our community policing initiatives enables the deputies to build trust and rapport with the residents, businesses, and community organizations. By fostering these positive relationships and actively engaging with the community, deputies can gather valuable intelligence and address quality of life issues and collaborate with residents to prevent crime. Investigations, assigning a deputy that is experienced in investigations that can ensure a better outcome in prosecution. We all know that those rely on how good the DA can only do his job as good as the investigators have done their job to make sure we're getting convictions. School resource officers, a big component of mine is to ensure that we make sure that we have school resource officers in place, and if we don't, we find a way to get them there. Assigning deputies and school resource officers helps ensure the safety and security of our students, our faculty, and our staff within educational institutions. Collaborative initiatives, partnering with law enforcement agencies, community stakeholders, and social service organizations allows the deputies to participate in collaborative initiatives aimed at addressing complex issues. Ultimately, the best use of deputies involves a strategic and multifaceted approach that balances proactive crime prevention efforts with responsive law enforcement services, while also prioritizing community engagement and collaboration. Thank you.
And we don't want you to be asked the same question, so if I read the question that you've already answered, we will pick another question. How would you reduce wait time for deputy response?
So reducing wait time for deputy response, I think something that'd be important is trying to split the county up. See if you can have to where we can do a north side deputy and a south side deputy. Cut those response times in half, not sending so many deputies to one cow out call whenever we have something that may result in something major on the other side of the county. If we can get it to where our wait time, or the citizens' wait time is getting cut down 15 minutes instead of them having to wait 30 to 40 minutes because they're having to travel from the far southeast part of the county to the furthest northwest, that takes up a lot of time. I really feel that would be something very important if we can get that split up in half. Obviously, it does take more resources and everything, so we're still trying to work on those types of things with budget allowing. So that's just kind of where my thoughts are on that.
Thank you. Okay, next question.
It's not me this time.
That would might be me.
I don't know, was I supposed to lose track of it?
You might be fine. What is one current strength of the sheriff's office and one area of deficiency?
I've already been asked about that.
Okay. Thank you, that you were finding. How would you redirect resources to improve operations?
I think I already been asked that too.
It's going to be hard.
What would be your priorities?
Okay. So my priorities would include implementing prevention programs aimed at reducing drug use with the youth population and at-risk populations, such as Dover and Lowell, where there's not really a police presence. So as well as providing intervention services for the individuals struggling with substance abuse. So by starting an offender task force to encompass all the crimes, target sex crimes against children, theft, and the drugs, of course.
Okay.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Pardon me?
Can I ask a question real quick? Again? I'm going to ask a question real quick. Sorry. How big is Kingfisher County?
906 square miles.
906 square miles? And how many deputies are there now?
Currently, we have 12 full-time, I believe.
12 full-time? Okay. Sorry.
Y'all can chime in.
I needed to, I just kind of wondered what we were talking about when we were talking about deputy response time and things like that was, you know, how many do you have to cover and how much does it have to cover? So, thank you. I'm sorry, I threw that question in.
I get to skip too.
Oh.
Should have answered them.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Now it's my turn. Tammy, you sure? All right.
I think you already got this one. I think you already
Yes, he did.
Okay, what are the primary duties?
Maybe that one.
See this?
Duties, okay. That one?
I'll answer again.
How would you redirect resources to improve operations?
Okay. I feel similar to, I think Jeremiah's already had this question also. It is really hard to say without seeing what those resources are and how they're already being allocated. Resources could be people, it could be money, it could be all different kinds of things. And without knowing exactly what those resources are, it's really hard to give a good answer. And I've tried to do some research. I see a little bit. It's really hard to. I wish I could give you guys the exact answer of what I would do, but once I was in office, I'd be able to look at all those things and see. Then I'd be able to give you a lot better idea as to where that stuff needs to be moved to.
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
Okay. It's kind of dragging a little bit. So, does anybody here have any questions about the job, what they do, how they do their job, things like that? We can do some audience questions as long as it doesn't have anything to do with yucky stuff. Go ahead.
I would just like to know what the minimum qualifications are for a sheriff and how they have met that.
Oh, okay. We can start off with number 1 and go to number 4 this time. Did you hear the question?
I heard I'm not number 1.
Huh?
I'm not number 1.
I know. Just because I was looking at you didn't mean it was your turn.
I'm number 1, not number 1.
She's gonna beat you here in a little bit.
I know.
Okay, so I'm not taking any answers, or taking any questions from people.
Okay,
Okay? Hate to sound rude, I'm just not doing it.
all right. The next person?
I gotta remember what was on that pamphlet we filled out. Take it back. I know I meet the requirements. You have to be a police certified officer, I believe, for 4 years. Now you really put me on the spot here.
Sorry.
4 years. I'm trying to remember everything else. I remember reading it and knowing that I met the requirements. You have to live in this county. Be a registered voter. And honestly, I can't remember the rest. So maybe one of these Forrest or
Hey, I think you're good.
It is a state law to be 4 years full-time. So maybe tell us about your years of law enforcement experience.
your turn.
Oh, I'll start. I started my career in 1995. I'm the old one, okay? So I'm the old one of the group up here. So I started in 1995, so I'm pushing up 27 years of law enforcement experience. Thank you.
I started in 2005, started with Kingfisher PD, and then moved over to Kingfisher Sheriff's Office in 2013. You are correct, it is a state law. It's 4 years minimum, years experience, that is full-time certified. So other than that, and like I said, registered voter, and a resident of the county, so it's pretty much what it is.
Maybe if I stood up there long enough, I'd get it.
Do you want to have? Oh. Anybody else have anything?
I do.
Okay.
Are there some special qualifications that you need to have to be the sheriff of this county?
I don't think that
The only special
Well, what I
qualification,
mean is there something that you need to know? Is there some kind of extra training that you should have, like right now, to take care of certain problems that could happen? I'm not probably phrasing this right, but I know just being 4 years and a registered voter and whatever that third thing was, isn't going to cut it. I think there has to be a broader.
the only other thing that there is you go to, within 1 year, you have to go to a sheriff's school, which I believe is 2 weeks long. It used to be a long time ago to where any farmer, anybody can run against their sheriff that they were mad at, and then they changed that, I think it was about 10 years ago, to where they met those minimum requirements of the 4 years of a certified full-time law enforcement officer. But other than that, it's just 2-week sheriff school you have to go to, and then it's you're the boss. You had a question, ma'am?
Sure, yeah, that's fine. I don't know every one of these gentlemen, and so I really would like to hear who they are, what they've been doing, and why they're running. Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay.
We want to order or just go to me?
Alright. Whatever.
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Aaron Pitts. I grew up in Hennessy, graduated from Hennessy in 2008. Shortly after I attended the Northwestern, and in that time frame, I met my wife Ariel, who's sitting up here in front. Now I'm going to embarrass her. I met Ariel. Together, Ariel and I have 3 boys who you will not see here tonight because there's not enough law enforcement personnel in this building to keep them quiet. Their names are Jackson, Jett, and Jonah. Early in our marriage, we lived in Hennessy. But for the last 12 years, we have lived in Kingfisher. In 2016, I was hired at the Union Police Department, and for many different reasons, I ended up leaving there, and I went to Hennessy in 2017. And through that process, I've had a lot of different job titles. I've worked as an SRO from school resource officer, from 2019 until I became chief in 2022. That's pretty much it about me. Do I got 2 minutes?
You still have,
Huh? Why I'm running? Oh, because I'm running because I believe that I can make an impact in this entire county. I feel like I'm a very personable guy. You can easily approach me and have a conversation with me. And I care about people. That's the biggest thing. And working at the school, it helped me develop a relationship with a lot of people, with kids, their parents, and Tammy, why are you smirking? It helped me connect with people, because in law enforcement, any of these guys can probably tell you, sometimes you become hardened. And working at school brought me down that level a little bit. And it really helps me, it helped me learn how to connect with people. First time.
Why am I running? I think was your #1 question.
Who you are.
Okay. First, I'm Forrest Smith. I live in Okarche. I have served roles in law enforcement. I'm going to start pacing this like you know. I've served in law enforcement, like I said, since 1995. I've held many, many titles, from officer to lieutenant to corporal to sergeant to assistant chief. I have worked in the police as a police officer in municipal, state, and federal agencies throughout my career. And I'm married with 2 kids. My wife sits behind you, 2 years older. And she's from Hominy, Oklahoma, and I'm from Cleveland, Oklahoma. And throughout my career, I also operate a private company that does internal investigations for police departments that don't have the necessary need or means and funds to do it internal. So they'll hire me to come in and fill back their books and their policies and tell them what's wrong and where the deficiencies are. So I still currently do that today. So why am I running? To improve. I live in Kingfisher County. I want to improve it. I want to do what my part is to improve it. I've been doing it for 27 years, and I just feel the draw and the need to continue that drive, to continue making improvements in departments that I feel that may need, that I feel I can do. You know, it's like a calling, and I know we kind of make smirk at that, but that's kind of what we're all here for. It's something that we're passionate about, and no matter what anybody's feelings are towards any of us here, we all do a very hard job and have been for quite some time. So at the end of the day, we're still police officers. You know, we're just each have our own probably desire or need that we want to fulfill that position. And I think that, you know, when you hear us all talk, you're going to hear us kind of embed a little bit of that into the talk, but that's pretty much it.
Jeremiah Loper. I live right here in Kingfisher. Started out at the jail, and then I went to Hennessy, where I've been ever since. Started at the jail in 2018. Got my wife right there, Monica. I got 2 kids, Waylon and Jesse. Probably smarter than I am. Originally from Waxahachie, Texas. That's where I met my wife. And I believe that I can make a difference in this county. Just like Forrest said, it's a tough job. But I believe we can get there as long as we work as a team. Kind of all it boils down to, teamwork, is what we're here for.
I'm Jonathan Riedlinger. Excuse me. Again, been serving since the Kingfisher community since 2005. Started in the jail in 2004, hired on the Kingfisher PD, and where they sent me to CLEAT, where I got my certification. 2013 is when I got out, then went to the sheriff's office. Held multiple different positions from, you know, cannon officer, patrol deputy, investigations. Kind of when you're an officer, we hold many different titles. So you don't have a lot of, you know, just a patrol division or a investigations division. We have multiple things that you're held responsible for. So what happens in your smaller agencies? So you kind of get lucky, you get to learn everything from the ground up instead of like Oklahoma City PD where you take a report, you pass it off to a detective, and you'll never hear about it again. So being that we get to do all that, it's been nice to see how we get to proceed and push our cases and go forward with it. Not from this community, but I've always considered this community my home. I met my wife here. We have 2 wonderful kids. Some days I think my daughter's going to get the best of me being 13 years old. She pushes her limits every day. I think she has too much of me in her. But we love it. You know, my wife, she's a teacher over in started out in Cashin, and then now she's over at Okarche. They were very open arms with her 2 years ago. I mean, no one ever treated our kids like they were outsiders. I mean, it was just like they were one big family. So I love it, this community. That's why I'm running for sheriff. I want to continue to move forward, keep doing the great things that we're doing, and just keep excelling and making our community a safer place for not only my kids to grow up in, for everybody's kids. This is a nice community. We're not Oklahoma County. We're not Logan County. We have a nice, safe community that we can always improve on, but for the most part, it's a really great community with a great, amazing residents.
Anybody have anything else? Okay.
In your opinion, what makes a professional police officer? The image that you want one of your officers to present?
Can you help me with that one more time?
Just the image, in your opinion, what image?
An image, okay. So the image of a police officer,
yes.
Right? I would definitely want to say empathy. An officer who cares about what he's doing and cares about the community and cares about just the simple call that he may be on. Sometimes we go out and we just take a call and through bad training, we take a call and we disappear and we go put it on a piece of paper and no one hears about it again. But you want an officer that's empathetic to the needs of the community. Someone who's professional, maintains their professionalism both inside and outside the job. Someone that can carry himself with confidence, but also know when not to be too confident, if that makes sense, right? But definitely that's what I always expected from my officers, was to make sure I really hit home with the empathy and the caring and the support of you know, with no matter what the case is or how bad the case was. But professionalism is definitely key in our position. The minute we get caught slipping, being unprofessional, I mean, we all know the cameras are rolling all the time, then we have a lot of explaining to do after that. So ethics, professionalism, and empathy is some of the major key points for making sure your officers are where they need to be. Oh, say what he said.
So, basically the way I see it, treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat them with respect. It's like I tell my kids, you know, respect, it goes a long way. And always tell the truth. There's nothing, tell the truth before somebody tells it for you, essentially. And I think, I'm going to stop now before I get mad. Go ahead.
Don't matter to me, rock, paper, scissors. Empathy is a great thing. Again, this job can callous us. Sometimes where we can feel that a call that we go out on is something minor, but to somebody else is major. And so we have to be able to drop our egos down and show that we have to be caring and compassionate to those people, that they are our biggest worry that right now, you know, whatever it may be. It could be, you know, their grandmother got, you know, their garden gnome stolen, or it could have been something of a major of identity theft. There have been times that people will elevate themselves on calls, and sometimes officers will elevate themselves with it to match that and everything. Mr. Wright, you know, as being a trooper and everything, sometimes that does happen. Does it have to happen? Sometimes it does, but it's not required on every call. If you can control yourself, hold yourself down and everything, you don't have to worry about those types of things happen. Treat them with respect. A lot of times you can just be respectful of people, they will start respecting you back and understand where everything's coming from. So.
My turn? Yeah. A lot left to say, isn't there? So I think if you're what all these three gentlemen spoke about, if you're all those things, it makes you, I'll come back to being easily approachable. I want anybody who works with me anybody to feel comfortable walking up to them and say, hey, I have an issue, can you help me? They're a kid, doesn't matter who it is. I want them to be that person, he or she be that person that anybody feels comfortable walking up to. And I mean, there's not a whole lot to say after all three of these guys already answered it, but I agree with all three of them.
So this will be, you guys have all been in law enforcement for quite a while, it sounds like. So this will be two questions, just from your personal perspective. What has given you the greatest amount of satisfaction in this line of work? And secondly, what's the most difficult part of this job for you guys personally? You may have kind of answered this in previous questions, but have you answered a little different?
You go first, might as well knock it out. Brian, will you ask me your question again one more time?
What has given you the greatest amount of satisfaction in this line of work? And then
can you ask me the second question just a second? Okay, so what's given me the most satisfaction so far, I'll come back to, is being an SRO and being able to work with the kids and see the impact I can make on them on a daily basis. You know, our kids are our future. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's true. It is very important to me that our kids always feel safe, and so to me that has been the most important thing to me so far in my career. And the hardest thing to do for me, I'll be honest, is death notifications. Not much is harder than walking up to somebody's family and saying, "Hey, your loved one's passed away." There's no easy way to do it, and it doesn't matter how tough you think you are, or all these things you've gone through in life. The first time you do that, you realize, hey, this job sucks. It's not fun. To me, that is by far the worst part of this job. Sorry. Okay. Let's go first again.
You're right. Satisfaction, right? Okay, so satisfaction. You can't really narrow it down to one thing. I know you can't either. It's hard to narrow it down when you've had a long career. If you had a couple of years, you could probably find something, but I've been doing this a very long time. So satisfaction to me is, I went through different decades of policing where things changed. I mean, I started when there wasn't video cameras, and the cameras, the tapes we had in our trunks of our car were VHS recorders, okay? So it kind of dates me, but community involvement to me has always been satisfying. It's watching the community get behind you, behind your officers and behind your departments, and stepping up when you need things and need maybe even just guidance. It's nice to pull on the community for that. Cases, I've worked a lot of high profile cases in my career. A lot of, when I was a sex crimes detective, I put a lot of molestation cases in prison. One that I'm very proud of is one that I did that actually had around 31 victims of kids. The gentleman ends up getting sentenced in prison through that case that I did, and he ends up dying in prison. But the satisfaction of that was able to pull the confession out of him to expedite that case. Same thing with all sex crimes. Held a very, very high conviction rate on sex crimes when I was a sex crimes investigator. So a lot of cases through my career. I could go on and on and tell you the great, the things I remember. The second part of your question was?
What's difficult about?
Difficult is kind of like what he said. We take everything home. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to take it all home. No matter, like I said, no matter what your feelings are about any of us up here, we still take everything home. Everything we go out and do and everything we see, and I've seen 27 years of stuff, I still live with that every day. Same thing with Riedlinger in his, since 2005, I believe you said. He still takes home that stuff every day too. And so does this gentleman in 9 years, in 8 years. So that stuff never leaves us, never leaves us. That's why the mental health stuff that we touched on earlier, I think is very important when we start looking into running a sheriff's office and making sure not just that we work on the mental health outside in the community, but we look inward as possible as well, and make sure the mental health and we take care of our deputies the way we need to.
So, there's the best thing that I've seen, it was every day that I went to work. Some kids right there on a straight mean road. Every day, about 4 o'clock, come out and they'd salute. Every day. And that was probably the best thing that I've seen. Worst is probably same thing with children. Just knowing that they've been touched in very bad ways, that's probably the worst. Thank you.
So satisfaction, dissatisfaction, right?
Yes.
Okay, so satisfying, again, most everyone's been touching on already, the love of the job. We all enjoy this job. It's a passion that does drive us. As Forrest, many facets that he has gone through. I'm obviously not as old as him, so I'm not hit as many as he has.
Come on.
But like Forrest, I have done a lot of investigations with sex crimes. Unfortunately, the world we live in, there's a lot of sex crimes that's out there. It's a sick world we live in. Kingfisher County at one point in time had a lot of sex crimes that was in here, and I had to cover a lot of that stuff for not only Kingfisher PD, but for the Sheriff's Office in other counties as well, or other agencies within our county. Back when we used to have tough on crime courts, we used to send a lot of people to prisons for things. One of the ones that I did, sent a guy to prison for 180 years. He's never going to see the light of day again. That was a satisfying day for me, knowing that those victims actually got some justice out of that. This day and age, it seems like sometimes we just don't get that kind of justice anymore, and that's something that I would love to see more of when our legal system starts showing up again and doing what they're supposed to do. One of the dissatisfying things is not only death notification, child death. That is one of the hardest things. Seeing people that has lost a loved one like that is, you just can't fathom it. It's something that will live with you, it'll haunt you, it stays with you forever. You just can't ever seem to get away, no matter how much you try to decompress it. Mental health is a great big thing. Back in the day, they used to tell us, suck it up, just go to work. And suicide rates were high with cops, alcoholism, spousal abuse and stuff like that. They didn't care about your mental health. I mean, PTSD isn't even a workman's comp case for Oklahoma. You're supposed to suck it up. It wasn't until a couple years ago that they started recognizing through mental health for what we would use for patients. We now have a blue button that we can press if we're going through a bad day. So we can reach out for help if we have troubling times that we're going through and everything. So I think there's a lot of good things that are, from tragedy, good things do come as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, if and when you become sheriff, do you plan to join the National Sheriff Association, and why or why not?
You can go first. Jonathan, you go last, you go first.
I honestly do not know much about the National Law Enforcement or the National Sheriff's Association. I'd have to do some more looking into that before I can even give an answer. I do know we do participate with the Oklahoma Sheriff's Association, but as far as the national one, I would have to look into that before I can give an honest answer.
I need to stay up what he said. I've never looked into it. I've been asked a lot of questions. I can honestly say I haven't been asked that one, but I promise you I'll look into it and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, probably the same. I was part of the National Police Chief Association at one point in my career, up until probably a year and a half ago. But as far as the National Sheriff Association, I mean, obviously I think that's something everybody would look into, and if it was something that fit the needs of us and the community and things of that nature, not, you know, we'd have to see what the pros and cons.
Same.
You just get water.
I got one.
Water?
I'm good, appreciate it.
I can't take it anymore.
Okay, well, I have a question. Illegal immigration. It's a huge thing right now. In y'all's line of work, do you run into it a lot in the county? And if you do, what is the process to do anything if you do?
So I ran into this in Hennessy a couple times. Right now, after speaking with ICE and Immigration Customs, not Customs, but Immigration, they basically told me that due to the current administration, they're not deporting anybody. So.
There's a new administration.
So, I mean, your question we're seeing play out on TV, right? I mean, we're seeing that between Biden and Trump on a daily basis. We're seeing the cameras down there. Well, I know there's sheriffs in Oklahoma that have made the trek down to the border and expressed their issues and things with that nature. And I think in Oklahoma, we think that we're kind of shielded a little bit because of our population, that we're not seeing much of the illegal activity as far as when we start going out into the rural areas. But it's definitely becoming more predominant in this Oklahoma City and Tulsa and the bigger areas. Is it a burden? Yes, it's a burden. I mean, I think we all know that can be burdensome to the residents in the community for which, you know, they're being dropped off at, and things of that nature. Do we need to look at areas and ways to fix that and provide them transportation back home, healthcare, and things? I mean, all these things start coming into play, and it starts becoming a bigger piece of the pie. But like I said, I mean, we're seeing this as a daily argument and a daily issue between our current presidential race, and we do see it. And I know these guys have seen it. I can tell you, we can pull over 10 cars and find, you know, 2 out of the 10 cars that have illegal immigrants in it. ICE sometimes will come get them, and sometimes they won't. So there's more to, you know, us coming across and for just a simple issue, is not going to get ICE to come out and grab them and things like that. Now, if we book them into the county jail and they're illegal, then ICE will get called and they get dealt with that way. Whether they still come get them or not, it's still up to the feds.
So pretty much on what Forrest is saying is true. So recently we did have a vehicle that the sheriff's office did pull over. There were 11 illegal immigrants in there. They did make a trek from Arizona going all the way through to Colorado and said their final destination was going to Oklahoma City. They did pay money, they did come through, and they were nice. I mean, didn't give us any bad problems or anything like that. The driver was arrested. He said that he was paid to drive them and everything to get them to where they were supposed to go. So he was just arrested for driving without a valid driver's license. Wasn't anything too major. Got him booked in. Being that they were undocumented at the time, we did call Homeland Security. They said they would have somebody come out, talk with them, make sure there was no, with the human trafficking, or if they truly were just trying to get to family members and everything. The 10 that they spoke with were just trying to get to family. It wasn't part of a human trafficking ring or anything. They gave them a court date, and it was anywhere from 6 to 7 years that they will appear back on it. The driver, it's a good thing we did pick him up because he was wanted. He had been deported twice already. Once, one of them was for domestic assault and battery on a woman, and then the second one was for a sexual assault on a child. And so he was held. ICE will do their deportation, determine what they're going to do from there. And kind of touch on what Forrest was saying, if they do decide that they're going to get him and everything, after 3 days, if ICE does not do anything, come pick him up or anything, then the hold has to be released, and then we have to let him go. So there is nothing more we can do about that. They decided that they're done with it, and then they have to be released.
Thank you.
So.
Agreed. I gotta go last again. We're alternating. I agree with what they said. The issue is that you don't hear the people you don't hear about. You only hear about the illegal immigrants that are committing crimes usually. There's a lot of people here that are here to do the right thing and to better their lives. And the issue I've seen, so it's hard for us. None of us. I should speak for everybody. I'm sorry. It's hard to determine sometimes whose papers who are legit and whose aren't. Looking at all these papers, and I have in my desk a stack that big of fake driver's license. And you can get driver's license and all this different paperwork in order just to get here and stay here and probably fly under the radar for a long time. But I think all of us, because it's changing, we're going to need some information, writing warnings to people that are, excuse me. So write the warning, you get I think 72 hours?
72-hour hold.
Yeah, 72-hour hold. And to get everything figured out, but we need more training also. And I think I would personally like more training to see as to what legit papers look like. And I pull over a lot of people, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen a real Mexico driver's license. It's probably zero. I honestly don't know. Because a lot of times you can hold them up and it won't have the stuff, or it'll have their Hennessy address or the Kingfisher address. Like, well, I know that's not probably right. But, thank you.
Okay, we're going to wrap up. Does anybody have one more question?
Okay, we're going to close, but we're going to close with a closing comment from each of you, and tell us something that you want us to take away from tonight that we're going to remember and we're going to want to vote for you.
Oh, Aaron, you drew number 1, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
Oh.
Sure, mine.
Rock, paper, scissors.
So, I think we really need a change in the sheriff's office. We really do. I could say a lot of things, but I'm not. There's been a lot, I mean, you've seen the videos going around. So I really think there has to be a change. I'm not sure if they're true or not, but if they are, then I think that's what it is. We need a change.
I want you to take away experience. I think experience, when you start thinking about running the sheriff's department, just like you would a business or anything else for that matter, that you want someone who's experienced. Like I said before, I have 27 years of experience in all aspects of policing, from chief of police, assistant chief, detectives, sergeants, and on down the line. So I think we really need to look at experience when you look at someone running the county. I will say you got 3 good people here. I mean, you've got 3 other options as well. And I wouldn't discredit them for what they've done in their lifetime and what their direction is for the county as well. I would just reiterate, just make a valid decision, and a decision based on who you feel has the credentials and the knowledge to do the job. Thank you.
What was the question again? Please ask me one more time. What was the?
What do you want us to walk out of here remembering about you and why we should vote for you?
Okay, I think I've talked about a lot of relationships, and really what it's all about is the people. I mean, no matter, none of us would do the job if it wasn't for the people. And I'm always going to be for the citizens of this community. Because without the citizens, none of us really have a job, right? So I want you to take away that I'm going to do whatever I feel is best for this community. To answer your question. Is there something else? Second question? I can't remember.
And it's true, pretty much what everyone's saying is basically community, community, community. You know, without you guys, we are nothing. We have to have you for everything. Your eyes are where we need to be at from time to time. If we have something that's going on somewhere, you are what helps make us more. You guys are what helps make our budget bigger, that helps with taxes for approving those things. Our office, we have for our deputies over $1 million budget. Our jail is over $1 million as well. Our jail, everything, all in all, I mean, it's multi-million-dollar facility. It's a lot. It's going to be learning a lot. It's going to be taking on a lot, but it's a job that I'm willing to do to make sure that we can provide the best for not only the department and the jail, but for the community and everybody that resides within the 906 square miles. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We just want to. All for coming, and we appreciate all of you for even putting your name out there to run. We know it takes a lot to put your name out there and to do all the campaigning. It takes away from your family life and everything else that you've got going. But we want to say thank you to all of you for putting your name in to run. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for hosting this.
And thanks for letting us change things on the fly.